So if you missed the lesson on how to do a good narrative essay revision, or any type of revision during a writing day in class, this video is going to kind of give you a rundown of the mini lesson that we did.
So first, if you're meeting with somebody, first thing you need to do is you're going to choose your partner. You're each going to have something that you're going to trade for each of you to read. The first thing I want you to do is to sit close enough to your partner so that you guys can whisper quietly without somebody a couple seats away hear you, okay, so they can focus on their writing stuff. Once you've sat close enough together, the revision guide right here, this is going to give you all the information you need. So the first thing it asks you to look at is who's the audience, what's the purpose. Okay, like I just told you when we started writing at the beginning of the semester, two most important things are to consider who your audience is and what your purpose is. Okay, so like when I had a student up there today, I'm calling Jason. Okay, Jason was up here during class today, and he had an essay about camping. So I asked him who his audience was, and he said other teenagers, and what his purpose was. He said that his purpose was to show other people that camping is fun. Okay, so that's an example of an audience and a purpose, because his essay was about the time he went camping and had a lot of fun. After you've figured out what audience and purpose is, and if the writer doesn't know, you should be mindful of that so that when you read the piece, you can give them some suggestions on what would make a good audience purpose. So after you've done that, I want you to put all the pens down and everything. I want you to take turns reading the piece of writing to each other. The reason we do this is because, like when I read Jason's paper, the last two lines, he missed like this verb. It was like, we going to go camping next year. Or no, it was we going camping next year, which doesn't make sense, and as soon as I read it, he's like, I missed that. But, if he read it over himself, he would have inserted that word that he meant. So instead of we're going to go camping next year, he might have just inserted that himself. I've seen a lot of students do that. And for whatever reason, we just don't notice that when we read our own writing for ourselves. So that's why I want you to do that. After you've done that, then there are questions on the sheet that you can go through and answer. A couple things to be mindful of when you're answering these questions or when you're talking to another student about their writing. One is you should not be too easy on them. Okay, it's not going to help their grade out at all if you just explain, if you're just like, this is the best thing I've ever read, it's so wonderful, because then they're going to turn it into me, and I'm going to grade it just as hard as any other paper, and they're going to get a bad grade on it, and then they're going to come to you and be like, hey, thanks for telling me about the 5 words I misspelled. Awesome. Jerk. Something like that. Also, you don't want to be too mean, though. You don't want to be like, this paper sucks. This and this and this is horrible. And that's bad. Don't do that either. Sort of connected to that, if you see something good that, in the paper, don't just tell the person that their paper is good. Give us a specific example of what's good about their piece. Like when I was reading his piece, I said, what I really like about this piece is that it follows a clear chronological order. I have a clear beginning, middle, and end of the story. Like I totally know what happened while you're going camping. And also, if you see something that you don't think is too good, don't just say, this is bad. Say, okay, here's an example of something I see that's bad, and I would suggest you fix it this way. Like, Jason had, what was it that we did for him?
essay was just one big long paragraph. So I said, you know, Jason, I think it would help if you took this first part where you drove up to the campsite and unpacked, make that one paragraph. Then the next day when you got up and those first activities with like breakfast and what you did in the morning, make that another paragraph. Then when you go swimming, make that part another paragraph. Because he had this whole long thing about swimming and like getting off his cliff and stuff like that. So I said something that I thought he needed to change, but I also like said, here's what I would do that would help you do it. So that way they have a clear idea of what they need to do when they go back to do their second draft. So those are the main things I want you to think about when you do a revision with one of the revision sheets.